So, with the release of the new Grey Knights Codex, it seems like the Grey Knights have gone from grim dark to grim derp. And so I figured, why not do a video highlighting some of their most grim derp moments, including the new lore that we will get to in a little bit. But if you like the video, do subscribe. I do videos like this every so often. So to start out, who are the Grey Knights? Well, the Grey Knights are the first chapter of Space Marines ever created, as well as they have no ties to a Primarch, as far as we know, because their gene seed is quite literally the Emperor's gene seed. I don't know how that works because he is meant to just be a dude, but we will leave it at that. However, the Grey Knights were not created by the Emperor directly. He probably had a hand in it, but they were actually the creation of Melkador. So during the Heresy, Melkador had the Knights Errant, which were essentially proto-Grey Knights. These were Marines from Loyalist and Traitor Legions alike, who were loyal and wanted to do something about the traitor cause. So some of the most famous Knights Errant are Nathaniel Garrow, Garviel Loken. There was a Thousand Son who I don't know the name of. There were even a few World Eaters around. But towards the end of the Heresy, when the Siege of Terror was going on, or just beforehand, I'm not exactly sure when, the Malcador sent the Marines off to Titan, and then he pushed the entire moon of Titan into the warp to be hidden. Some of these Marines refused, such as Garviel Loken and Nathaniel Garrow, because they stayed to fight in the Siege of Terror. Now, these Grey Knights were not alone. They had a fortress monastery that was built at some point in the history of Titan beforehand, as well as they had, I think, a few thousand aspirants who were going to be trained as the first Grey Knights. Additionally, the first Grand Master of the Grey Knights, I think his name is Janus, he was infused with the Noble Shard of Magnus, which is what Magnus was doing during the siege, as well as this shard being lost to Magnus is what pushed him to be a traitor through and through. Now, to talk about the Grey Knights themselves, they are Space Marines, but with a little bit extra, basically. Unlike most Space Marine chapters where they have a librarian sect, the librarians of the Grey Knights are the Grey Knights. They are all Psykers, and they are extremely powerful Psykers. Additionally, Grey Knights are, I don't know if they're harder to make or what, but I would assume that they are harder to make because in normal Space Marine numbers, it's every 1 in 1,000 can become an actual Space Marine. Like by the end of the Blood Angels trials, there is about 15 or 16 neophytes. There might be more, but I'm just remembering from the book Dante. The Grey Knights, on the other hand, it is more like 1 in a million, if not rarer, for someone to be able to become a Grey Knight. For example, we meet a Grey Knight named Hyperion when he was a child. I don't remember his actual name as a child, but he was an incredibly powerful Psyker. He is in the Eisenhorn trilogy, so go read that if you want to find out. But this Grey Knight named Hyperion, he fought in the Second War for Armageddon, I believe, against Angron, and he managed to destroy one of Angron's swords, which is crazy feat because it was a demon blade, but at the same time, dude blew half of his brain out, so it's kind of, he did a great thing, but he also almost died. But this does bring me to my first quote-unquote grim derp moment of where the Grey Knights get their shit kicked in. So around the time the Second War for Armageddon took place, the Inquisition were very, very tight-lipped about demons. They didn't want people knowing about demons. This is before the Great Rift, where they couldn't really hide it anymore. In addition, the Grey Knights are not meant to be known by anyone except for the Custodes and the higher-ups in the Imperium. People who know about them are generally killed or mind-wiped, or made as servitors. So if you see a Grey Knight, you are going to die. They have literally destroyed planets because of the Grey Knights doing their duty. Now, the secret of the Grey Knights is kind of necessary because they are meant to combat chaos at every point, and it kind of ruins the mood if you have a bunch of Grey Knights that are known widely. It's like if you wanted to keep the Blood Angels secret, but you sent them everywhere. It just doesn't work. So after the Second War for Armageddon, the planet was saved, Hyperion did his thing with the sword, and the Space Wolves were here. Obviously, they can't kill the Space Wolves, they're one of the founding chapters, as well as they are one of the stronger Astartes forces in the Imperium. And people on the planet had seen Khornite demons, and so the Inquisition and the Grey Knights started to destroy and kill all of these civilians. And the Space Wolves were like, no, don't do that. That's bad. The Inquisition, on the other hand, said, fuck you, you furry bastard. And so the months of shame began, which were essentially where the Space Wolves were trying to help refugees escape the Inquisition and the Grey Knights. And the Grey Knights were essentially trying to fuck up the Space Wolves and the Imperial forces of the Inquisition. It quite literally got to the point where they offered a parley above Fenris, and as the Space Wolves were going up to meet the Grey Knights and the Inquisition, they began to bomb the surface of Fenris, which Logan Grimnar, if you don't know, he's a big fucking dude in Terminator armor with a Khornite axe that does not corrupt him. He teleported onto the bridge of the Inquisition officer's flagship and fucking tore him apart. Not only this, he killed the Grand Master of the Grey Knights at the time. Like, straight up one-shot him. Logan is not a psyker as far as I know, and he has no defense against psychic attacks. I might be wrong there, but as far as I know, he can't, and he one-shot a Grey Knight Grandmaster, which is kind of insane. That's like a guardsman one-shotting a custody. Well, not really, but like, it's in the same vein of a human one-shotting a space marine, a normal space marine. So this is obviously a grimdark moment by the Grey Knights, because like they couldn't have just let them live or mind wiped them. They had to kill everyone. And the Space Wolves really did put them in their place. Big up the furry bastards. Following this, the Space Wolves were given the information about the Grey Knights and told why they exist and who they are. So the Space Wolves do know about the Grey Knights canonically, and it makes a lot of sense why they would. In my opinion, the Grey Knights should be more known to other chapters so they can ask them for help. Additionally, there is a second Grimderp. I don't know where this comes from. It is in a book about the Grey Knights, but essentially they went to a planet that was being overrun by demons, and there were the Sisters of Battle who were held out there, and they were uncorrupted, and the Grey Knights came in to save them, or not save them, to like cleanse the planet. They found the Sisters of Battle who were not corrupted. The Sisters of Battle were like, we're saved. The Grey Knights said, your blood will be great, and they slaughtered them, covered themselves in their blood, and then went about their mission. I literally don't know why the Grey Knights did this. From memory, it was meant as some sort of ward, but that's literally never happened before. And from what I can remember, it was a Khornite demon invasion, which means spilling blood only makes it worse. Good job, Grey Knights. Now, let's talk about the most recent Grimderp moment, which is the reveal of the Terminus Decree. For those who don't know, the Terminus Decree is something that I spoke about in a previous video. It was a order written by the Emperor or by Melkador in a wooden box that was only known to the Grand Master of the Grey Knights. Now, the what's inside the box wasn't known. It was just the box was known to exist by the Grand Master of the Grey Knights. That's it. But now we know what was in the box. And let me tell you, I put out a short of how stupid this is, and it is massively stupid. The Terminus Decree turns out to be basically if the Emperor leaves the throne in any capacity, whether that be ascension to godhood, getting up, being reborn in like the Star Child, it is your job to return him to the throne and make him sit there. And my god, how the fuck would you even do that? Like, first off, and this is what I'm going to talk about now, let's say he ascends to a Chaos God. You know, the 5th Chaos God, the Dark King, whatever you want to call it. How do you get a Chaos God to sit on a golden throne? Because the Terminus Decree doesn't tell you how to do it. It just says, make the Emperor sit on the throne eternally. Mind you, and this is another Grimdark moment, or just whoever's writing this shit is not read the law. It states that the Emperor gave the order, but how did the Emperor give the order? Because the Grey Knights were in the warp. They also, like, went around when the Emperor ascended the throne, and it's written on a piece of paper. And I don't think the Emperor can write on the piece of paper while sitting on the golden throne being tortured eternally by his electric chair. But regardless of that, let's go down the other routes. He is reborn as a Star Child. Well, first off, how would you even know that happened? Secondly, if he's reborn as the Star Child, you have bigger issues considering the Talisman of 7 Hammers will activate and Earth will be destroyed. You know, that's real bad. You know, I can't tell you, but it is definitely bad that the Golden Throne explodes. Now, the last bit of it is if he just gets up. If he just heals and gets off his chair. Grey Knights, my boys, gotta ask you, what the fuck are you gonna do about the 10,000 custodians? Like, the Grey Knights are 1,000, roughly, as a chapter, and they have to kill 10 times that amount. And these aren't like 10,000 Space Marines who don't have psychic powers. If that was the case, the Grey Knights would have a clean sweep because they have the psychic powers. But you're facing custodians. These dudes, like 3 or 4 of them, could probably take a Primarch in combat. And they cut down swathes of Space Marines easily. I do not see how the Grey Knights will get through the Custodies. And before you say, psychic powers, woo woo woo, the Sisters of Silence are back. They will literally nullify them and just make them normal Space Marines. The sad part about all of this is that the Grey Knights are kind of one of the cooler chapters. They fill a very unique role in that they are specifically and only demon hunters. They do deal with other Xenos, and they also seem to be more compassionate. For example, they gave back soul stones to an Eldari that when they went to a craft war to kill a demon. And the Eldari was shocked because humanity isn't usually kind like that to the Eldari. But the Grey Knights don't give a shit if you're an Eldari. Like, they're just there to kill the demon and walk away. And they could have so many cool stories. But they get these grim dirt moments, and it's just like, GW. What the fuck? Anyway, that's going to be it. If you want a longer deep dive into the Grey Knights, do remember to like and subscribe. I will be doing more of these videos soon, hopefully, as well as other content. Let me know what you want to see next in the comments below, and I will see you later. Have a lovely day.